Alright, so this is the fourth part that we've worked on in Engineering Design 2020-2021. This will be a video for the roller lever, the part, and setting up the drawing for those that need it. As you can see, we're basically creating the following part. We're basing it upon the origin that is pictured below. I know this is not easy to see, but basically the origin is centered in that hole, and it's centered in the part. So we will be doing a mid-plane extrusion in order to keep this centered up. Looking at the drawing, I think the best approach on this one will be to start from that front view. So I'm going to focus on this view here, basically getting the outside in the holes and doing extrusion. And then coming back, and again, I'm going to do a mid-plane extrusion. So I'm going to go across to the mid. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll come back in, cut some of the pieces off the back and underneath, and then finish off by using a front plane again and doing a two-way cut right here to get that center piece out. So with that said, I'm going to get into my part. It's going to be a metric part today. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my SolidWorks. And hopefully I can get this up and running. Come on, SolidWorks, get up here, baby. There we go. All right. I don't know why it does that little thing, little hitch right there. I'm going to do a file new, do metric, and say OK. Set itself up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this over to my other screen real quick so I have something to view. I'm going to come back in here to my SolidWorks and start on the front plane with a new sketch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start with that circle, because the circle is going to have the origin dead center, and that's basically going to be the starting point for this whole part. Okay? You'll notice that the dimension says 14.30 or 14.29. That it is called a limit dimension. I also call it tolerance, so it tells the person building it that they have a little bit of leeway there in that hole. I personally like using the round number, so I'm going to go 14.30, easy to work with, and hit my check mark. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and draw another circle a little bit further forward up in this range here, and now turn on my line tool and begin kind of creating the outline of this part here. Coming down, I'll create my angle. Basically create this line. I'm going to go ahead and create that curve by touching this, create a shallow curve, pulling away and touching again and creating another shallow curve. Short line, and then I'm going to pull up at an angle. Pull up at a straight line. As you can see, I'm going to have to probably move that circle because I'm already in the wrong spot. Okay, I'm going to come this way, and then I'm going to pull away and create a shallow arc. And this is one that's a little bit hard, and then I'm going to come this way here and finish by closing this off. Okay, I'll take this circle now and I'm actually going to drag it inside the part here. Now I'll go ahead and I'll add this tangency here and start adding in my key dimensions. Actually I messed up this line. I need to delete. I forgot about there's a flat part right here, and then the line comes in like so. Okay, so I'll come back in, add that relationship of tangent. Alright, now I'm going to go and start adding my dimensions in here. The one critical one I will tell you is that this center of the left circle here is vertical to this line right here where the arc or the angle line begins to go down. So I'm going to make that vertical. That will help get things kind of started off on the right foot. Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add in some key elements. I'm going to go from this point here to this point here and make that 7. From this point here to this point here, I'm going to come back and make this also 7. Okay, I'll kind of pull that up in between. From this top line to the bottom line below will be 32. The distance from this circle here to the bottom will be 14. And then same thing down here. This will end up basically being 7 by, nope, not there. I'm going to do the smart dimension again from this point here to this one here. This will also be 7. Okay, the distance from this point here to the edge will be 14. And basically, I'm just putting the dimensions exactly in the same spot as you see them in the drawing. Now, continue up here. I'm going to take the flat line to this and pull to my right and make that a 10-degree angle. I'm going to have to do something here. This right here is right now locked. And this is the most common error on this one. So if I try to do the R19, it's going to really kind of blow this whole thing up. And the reason is because if you look at the drawing, and I'll bring that back over, if you look at the drawing, this center mark is not on that line right there. I need to get this to move away. So to make that happen, I'm going to have to break the relationship that you see right here between this center mark and that line there. So I'm going to highlight that and hit delete so I can move this above. Okay, and now or below doesn't matter right now. So I'm going to go like this. I can just make adjustments and make it move. It's okay. Now I can add in that 19 without it going crazy on me. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and make that 19. I'll flip that arrowhead and bring this in a little bit tighter. That's fine like that. Okay. From this corner to the very front is going to be 24. Now again, I've got several people that I've had to help. They're going from this point back to 24 and their mass is getting way too big. I'm going to take from there to here is going to be 14. Okay, I'm also going to do from here up will be 14. This point right here is going to be, from here to here will be 5. From this point, I do it every time. I'm going to go here again. From this point here to this point here, I'll pull to my right and make that 5. Oh, in this case, I made a parallel. Now, this is another common mistake. SOLIDWORKS is thinking for me, and I added a parallel when I didn't want a parallel in here. So I'm going to cancel. I'm going to highlight my line and highlight this parallel symbol. When it turns blue, I hit delete. And now I can come back and add in my correct dimension. Okay, so you got to understand SOLIDWORKS is thinking ahead a little bit. Sometimes it's doing the right thing, other times it's not. I'm going to do the same thing here, 24 from this point to here. From the very back to the very front, I'm going to do 81. Okay, I'm going to do my line right here, or excuse me, my circle. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make that 11.4. I like the rounded numbers. Makes it easier to work with. And then from here to this bottom line here, I'm actually going to pull this to the right. That will be 19. From this very top to the very bottom will be 57. I'll move this in just a second. 57. And then from the front here to this tip right here will be 29. Okay, now, it messed up. No big deal. I'm just going to slide this over. The key is this right here, this point is this arc right here, needs to be on this line and vertical, or excuse me, horizontal to this point right here. Okay, so I'm going to first of all, Control key, click on that point, click on this line, and make them coincident. Then I'm going to click on this point right here again, Control key, and this left point over here, and make them horizontal. I will then go ahead and dimension this right here to 29, and finish off by dimensioning this right here at 5. And just like that, I've got all the dimensions are exactly in the same spot. This is going to be convenient when I do my drawing, because I am going to show a shortcut using model items, and it'll drop all my dimensions on very quickly. Now, from here, what I'm going to do is go to Features, Extrude Boss Base. Now, again, we want to keep this origin in the center of the part. So what I'm going to do is drop this to midplane, and I'm going to extrude this out 43 millimeters and hit my check mark. I'm going to go ahead and change this to chrome stainless steel by editing my material. In alphabetical order, I see chrome stainless steel, apply, and close. Now before I continue on, I'm going to do a Control S to save. And I'm going to save this to my desktop for right now. I'm going to save this, caps lock, spindle, nope, not spindle, excuse me, roller lever, underscore my last name. Okay, so I've got the basic shape. Now what I want to do is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take on this top surface here, I'm going to go ahead and cut off a rectangle that's going to cut all the way through this. Alright, so I'm going to go here and do a sketch. I'm going to do a space bar and a normal 2. I'm going to turn on my rectangle, corner rectangle tool. I'm going to attach and pull a rectangle. Now looking at the top view, I'm going to use my dimensions as I see them in the top. From the front to that line will be 52 millimeters. And then from this back edge to here will be 24 millimeters. Okay, so now if I go back to my isometric view, you can see I have basically this rectangle that's sitting here. All I'm going to do now is do a features, extruded cut, and I'll do a through all. And check. Okay, I'm going to repeat that on this side piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and start a new sketch, spacebar normal to, and now all I'm going to do is take my sketch tool and I'm going to draw a line straight across, and then I'm going to go ahead and do what's called convert entities. So I'm going to turn on my convert entities. It wants to know which ones I want to convert. I'm going to hit this arc, this arc, bottom line, and this line right here, and hit my check mark. So all that did was take the edges and turn them into black lines. I will trim off this excess piece right there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece here. So I'm going to go to Features. I'll rotate so you can see this. Extruded Cut. And I'm going to cut this in this case, it's going to be 19. 40, it's going to basically, if you don't know, I'm going to take 43. And I see in the right side view 24, so minus 24. For a 19 millimeter cut. Okay, I'm going to hit my check mark, and now that is done. So I'm sitting at this point here. Now, I'm going to do a Control S to save, because all I have left to do is the arc cut inside. Now again, by doing this from a midplane, I can simply go to my front plane, go ahead and start a new sketch, do a spacebar, normal to, and now what I can do is I'm going to start this with a circle tool. Alright, so I'm going to draw a big circle. Now what I can tell you is that this point is vertical to this point right here. Nope, not coincident. I'm going to make it vertical. Okay? Then I'm going to go in here and say, okay, the size of this is going to be a radius of 41, which is 41 times 2, which is 82. Now here's the key on this. I'm going to kind of pull this down a little bit here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in here and I got to create a point, or actually I'm going to convert my lines. I'm going to hit this surface right here and I'm going to do a convert entities. Okay, so all I did was convert all this out here. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do some trimming and trim off what I don't need, which is these lines here to here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from this intersection point of this circle and line to here, and according to the right side view, that is 36 millimeters. Okay? What I'll do is I'll finish off by getting rid of this out here, leave me just this piece on the inside. Okay? Now, I'm going to go to my features and do an extruded cut. Now the nice thing is I can cut in two directions, direction 1 and direction 2. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to actually show you one. I'm going to do offset from surface, okay, up to surface, offset from surface, and I'm going to pick this surface and tell it I want to offset 12 millimeters. Okay, turning that off, 12 millimeters. So what it's saying is that I want you to cut until you're 12 millimeters away from this surface. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go here, and instead of line, I'm going to do an offset from surface. I'm going to pick this surface right here, and I'm going to offset that. If you're not sure what the number is, you can simply take 43 minus 12 minus 24, and I'm just taking the numbers straight off the top view. That gives me a distance of 7 millimeters. I hit my check mark, and now I am complete with this part. I'm going to do a Control Save. Now, your job is then to go find the mass properties, get the mass and the center of mass based upon the location of its origin. At this point, though, I want to go through the drawing. I'm going to do it very quickly. I'm going to open up a GHSA metric and say OK. Never mind this little whatever Xbox thing. Sorry, I apologize. I'm going to double click on my roller lever. Start with a front view. Preview. Hidden lines on. Scale should be at 1:1. I'm going to start here with the left-hand side with my front view, my top view, my right side view, and my isometric view. I'm going to highlight my isometric so I can add color. You could also do it without the black lines. It's up to you how you do that. I don't care either way. I do want the extra black lines to disappear. I'm going to take this metric and move it down here and get rid of that little box right there and come back now, click on my metric, and I'm going to go ahead where it says border none and change it to box. Alright, bring this in a little bit tighter, that will help. Now, I'm going to go through each one of these views and make sure I have all my center marks I'm supposed to have, all my center lines. So some of them I got to get rid of, for instance, this one here. Okay, I'm going to go up to this. That one's good, but I'm going to get rid of this one here. Alright, now you see some extra black lines, and it's okay if they're there. I will not down mark you, but if you want to get rid of them, one of the things you can do is by right-clicking in each view and go to your tangent edge. Oh, never mind, it's already, should probably be set for tangent edges removed. That is okay. Alright, but now I'm going to go over here to this right side view. I need these two, but I do not need this one here, or this one here. Okay? I need to finish up, though, with some small center marks on this front view. So I'm going to go to Center Mark tool. I'm going to take my defaults off, extended lines off, and I'm going to add in some center marks by clicking on all my arcs, including this one here and this one here. So that should be 4 total that you add in, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I'll hit my check mark. Now, one of the cool things you can do here is at this point I can go in and go to what's called model items. Now again, if you did a lot of your sketching and put the dimensions in the same spot, this is really a cool little feature because you can basically drop everything in, and based upon how you sketch, it will put the dimensions in the same areas. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I have, so you can look here, mark for drawing. I'm going to go ahead and turn a bunch of these things on. I don't need to worry about that. Tolerance of dimensions I'll do. I'm going to do this, and any hole wizards, I'll just leave it as that. Okay, where it says selected feature, I don't want the feature, I want the entire model. And I want to import it into all views. So I hit my check mark, and there are all my dimensions. Now obviously it looks like trash right now, but at this point all I'm going to do is start pulling things in a little bit tighter. Okay, I'll flip my arrowhead here. Flip that by hitting that point. I'm going to take my 7s, and I just got to start making small adjustments. So I'm just going to start moving numbers around and just cleaning everything up. I know it's not, is it any better than before? I think it is. Again, take the 29, this 29 here, I'll put that way. This 29 is good. I'll bring my 19 in a little bit tighter and flip my arrowheads in. And as you can see, all I'm doing is just cleaning things up. So I'll put the 5 right there, bring the 14 in, and bring the arrows. Bring in the 24, bring in my 57, okay, take the 10, I'll bring it back this way. Actually, I think I brought it right like that. That works for me. The 11, I'll get to in just a second, but I'll bring it down this way. We'll get to there. I'm going to tighten up the 5, bring in this 14. And as you can see, it's just a matter of just quickly dragging stuff right now. Okay, I'm going to take this and bring this 19 to the inside. And flip the arrowhead over, maybe, okay, like so. Bring the 7 in a little bit tighter, that looks good. Bring my 81 in a little bit closer, okay. So you just, basically I'm just playing around with the numbers. Bring this 14 in. I can bring this over a little bit more. I'm going to get rid of the 82 on the right side view. I'm going to take my 36 and move it over and grab this point and grab it to there. The 19 right here I'm going to get rid of, and instead I will add in real quickly a 24 here, and that takes care of my right side view. So now I can basically move things around again. I'm going to slide this over a little bit more. That way I can slide this one over a little more and bring my 14 in. Bring in my 32. I've got my 14, my 7. That looks good there. And now I've got basically all my dimensions here. Then I've got my 52. I'm going to slide this up a little bit more. Move my isometric over a little bit more. 43, I've got my 12. Instead of the 7 though, I'm going to delete this and add in my 24. So I'll go from here to here. There's my 24. Okay, 24 back here, 52, 43. That all looks good. The last thing is I need to add here, I'm going to slide this one up a little bit more. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this over. I need to take and add note, and I need to change this number and my 14. I need these to be what are called stacked dimensions. So I'm going to left click on it, and over to my left where it says tolerance and precision, and it currently says none, I'm going to drop this to limit. And what it's going to do, it's going to stack these two numbers. Now the bottom number is correct, but the top needs to have a 0.01 added to it. Well, over here to my left, this is my top number, that's my bottom number. I need to add to the top number 0.01, enter. And now it's set. Okay, hit my check mark. Don't worry it moved, I'll just readjust it. Same with the 14, I left click on it. Where it says tolerance precision none, I drop to limit. In this case, I'm going to drop the bottom number by 0.01. So now there is my final dimension there. This is again called a stacked or limiting dimension. Now with this one, I'm going to also add in that 2x by putting my cursor in the dimension text box to the left. 2 space x. Okay, hit my check mark, and now I have all of my information I need for this drawing. Okay, don't forget you need to add the mass. I'm actually going to put it right here in this part by copying. I'm actually going to do a copy paste. So I'm going to go here and do a Control C. Come over here, I'm going to add in my annotation and my note. Drop the note right here and do a Control V. I will highlight this whole thing. Left justify. Font size 12. Okay, hit my escape, and I'm just going to adjust this. Now remember, when you do this, I expect you to add in the actual grams and the XYZ for this one, in addition to entering it into the assessment in Schoology. Okay, when you're done, don't forget to change the title, the name, date, and period. Okay, save this, and then you will submit both this and the part into Schoology to be evaluated. All right, that's all I got. Good luck.